Good morning, it's Glenda from BusyAtHome.com. Sorry to be such a mess this morning, but I'm gardening and I couldn't wait to show you what's going on. We're actually headed down the back stairs to my backyard and garden area, and we're going to put in the last of my 5 tomato plants that I've been growing since the end of January this year. I just wanted to show you a little bit about how I get those in the ground and what they're looking like now. I've already been out here this morning and I've got 4 tomatoes in the ground. I have an egg tomato, some Alini tomatoes, which are like little grape tomatoes, yellow ones, and then I've got 3 big beefsteak tomatoes that I'm getting in the ground this morning. These are all between 3 feet and 5 feet tall, depending on which one it is, and I have actually buried probably the bottom 12 inches of each one in the ground. Something, if you didn't know about tomatoes, is that if you break off the bottom leafy stems at the bottom of the plants and put that bare middle stem, the strong one, a little deeper in the ground than you normally would other plants, a tomato will set off new roots along every inch of that stem that is underground. It just makes your plants that much stronger. It gives them opportunities to pull more water and food, nourishment from the soil, and it's going to help protect them in windy weather because they have a stronger, more established root system. So I'm going to show you here. I'm ready to put the last one in the ground, and you can see I've got a pretty good sized hole here. I'm going to try and get it at the right angle so you can get a look at it. It's fairly deep, I would say 12 inches or so, and I'm going to unpot this last one, put it in the ground, and show you what we're doing. Okay, as these plants grew this spring in the house and over the late part of the winter, I had to repot them. You can see it's a pretty good sized pot, and that has dropped out in the hole now to kind of give you an idea of what size the hole is. I'm going to break off a lot of these small branches at the bottom of the tomato plant and leave bare stem there, even up and above that dirt and root area. I'm going to leave another probably 6 inches that's going to go in the ground. Okay, there you can see kind of cleaned off that central stem, and I'm just going to set the whole root ball and plant down in the hole and start filling up around there. You can see these have been held up with dowel rods for quite a while because they got so big I had to give them some support in the house. I'm going to go ahead and get this put in the ground. Okay, there you go. You can see I've got that in the ground. What used to be 4.5 foot is probably between 2.5 and 3 feet now. And it's good and solid in the ground. It's going to have a stronger root system. There's still one more thing I need to do. Another tip I can give you about tomato plants is they do not like these leaves that hang down and touch the ground. If you're going to get blights or a fungus in your tomato plants, a lot of times it's going to come from having leaves that touch the ground like that. So once I get my tomato in the ground, I just pinch off a lot of the lower leaf system. Make sure that I'm not going to have anything that's going to cause my tomato to be unhealthy. Once I get those all off, it's going to be time to give these tomatoes a drink. They've been living in the house in little bitty pots for a long, long time, and it was hard to keep enough water on them. I was having to water them 3 and 4 times a day just to keep them healthy and strong, and you can see they're doing okay. I've got blossoms on these plants already. There's another one. Got lots of little blooms. I'll be setting on tomatoes really soon. But after a morning of transplanting, they're a little shocked and they're thirsty. So I'm going to get set up to give them a little nourishment and some water. Here's what I'm going to use today for nourishment for my tomato plants. I'm using the Pennington Smart Feed tomato and vegetable fertilizer tablets. They go in this Smart Feed sprayer that attaches to my garden hose. It's my first time using it. It's supposed to be super simple. Let's give it a try. Okay, I just need to attach the garden hose to the end of the sprayer. And that was certainly simple enough. Next, I'm going to open the canister on the sprayer and insert a fertilizer tablet. So first thing I need to do is unscrew this canister. You can see the arrows here on the top are lined up. When I unscrew it, I'm going to turn 2 to 3 revolutions, and it's going to it doesn't detach completely. It just unscrews so that I can go ahead and drop the tablet in there. And I am going to use a tomato and vegetable fertilizer. The tablets come 4 to a canister. They have this hole in the center that's going to go over the post inside of the sprayer, and it's recommended that you probably do this every 1 to 2 weeks. I probably will do it every 2 weeks. I think it was $9.99 for the container of 4. I'm guessing that's going to last me a couple months. Every 2 weeks over the next couple months I can fertilize my tomatoes. I'm going to go ahead and get this loaded in the canister. Okay, you can see it just slides right over that post. Pretty simple. And screw it tight. Make sure your arrows are lined back up again when you're done, and that you have screwed the lid on securely. Now, there are 2 things that I especially noticed that I like about this sprayer. It has adjustable spray options, so I can decide how I want that stream of water coming out, make it easier to direct, and it actually shows on the sides here the pattern that each spray is going to deliver. The other thing that I like is this right here. It's a lock. So even if my grandkids grab a hold of this and they're pushing the trigger, they can't spray unless it's unlocked. And I just startled myself. Okay, you can see it's filling up with water now. Maybe I better set it. Okay, I chose shower. I just want a nice gentle shower of water. I'm going to spray this at the base of the plants. I'm going to go for the root system. I don't want to get too much water on the foliage. That can cause a lot of problems with your tomatoes, and a lot of foliar blights and diseases that come from spraying water on the leaves themselves. So I'm going right for the root system. It looks like I forgot to clean that one up. I'm going to go back in and clean those bottom leaves off after a while too. Okay, now that I have the kink out of my hose, I can actually spray here. Give these plants a drink. Definitely going to have to make some new labels because that paper and marker is going to wash away in the water and sun. Note to self. Well, this is simple enough. I like how easy it is that I'm watering and fertilizing at the same time. If you look closely, you can see that that tablet is just spinning in that water in there so that it's feeding it out in a nice, even manner. Oh, these tomatoes are going to be so happy to have a good drink of water. They'll be all perked up and ready to go by evening. I don't know if you can tell, I have trellises lined up behind each of these. These are all indeterminate tomatoes, meaning that they're going to be a vining tomato rather than a bush tomato. It also means they're going to produce all summer long. They don't just have one specific time where you harvest tomatoes. I'm going to harvest tomatoes all summer. There's a kink in my hose again. Hold on. There we go. So, because they are a vining tomato, and I don't want them running all over the ground, getting those leaves exposed to the soil and causing a lot of blight and diseases, I train them up a trellis. And the way that I do that is just use zip ties as they grow to hold them snug against the trellis, and you can see they'll actually just end up climbing that back fence. But I'll have a good crop of tomatoes just with these 5 plants, 3 beefsteak tomatoes, an Alini, and an egg tomato, which is more like a Roma or a paste tomato. But I also have some more tomatoes in the house that are growing. They're only about 2 weeks old, so most of them are between 8 and 12 inches tall. Those are Rutgers tomatoes, and those are going to be coming out here in the next day or two too. Anyway, I just wanted to show you what's going on with the tomatoes today, introduce you to the way I'm feeding them with the new Pennington spray feeder, and give you some information on how you can get some delicious, heirloom, organic, tasty, flavorful, and inexpensive tomatoes in your own backyard. Each of these plants, I calculated the cost with my even buying heirloom seed, cost me about 10 cents. Now, I challenge you to go to a nursery or even a big box store find a good, healthy 3-foot tomato plant for 10 cents. Yeah, it's worth every penny. Go ahead and grow your own produce. You know where it came from, you know what's on it, you know what you're feeding your family, and you'll save a ton. Okay, thanks so much for spending some of your morning with me today. I hope you learned something new about growing tomatoes, and I'll be seeing you around the garden.